time ago, in the palace of Greenwich, young Prince Henry came to earth, and he knew when the time was right, he would make the kingdom bright. But poor Henry was in for quite a plight. His marriage to his brother's widow began to haunt him and cause him woe, because Catherine was taken, a son she'd not be making. The queen did not take well to this, and gave the king her bum to kiss. Henry no doubt was quite pissed. That's how his marriage died. And he said, bye-bye, despite his poor old wife's cry. Act of succession would be pressin that their love was a lie. A split with the Catholic Church Cromwell had advised, making the king a free man in English eyes. But this was just the start of his demise. So Wolsey had been kicked out, and Catherine, though always devout, she no longer was the queen. Now this new girl, Anne Boleyn, was hot, but she knew that would be for naught if she couldn't get the love-struck king to marry her. Well, she seduced the man with games and fun, and he said if she'd produce a son, Anne Boleyn would be his wife. Oh, but they were in full stride. There were some nasty rumors spreading round about how Anne had went to town, and still no male heir could be found. That's how the marriage died. He was singing bye-bye despite his poor young wife's cry. Her ambition, once munition, now completely backfired. Her daughter one day would the whole nation acquire, but Anne's fate was not to be admired. Who would be the next to play with fire? A young woman by the name of Jane, compared to Anne she was quite plain, and that's why Henry married her. Jane told Henry he should reconcile, but it wasn't long before she was with child, and from a bed it's hard to do much persuading. While king and son were at a feast, Mother Jane became deceased, an infection from birth. They put her in the earth. But with Edward she'd secured an heir, the only boy any queen would bear, and for that reason Henry cared the most about young Jane. He was singing bye-bye while Prince Edward cried. She was a good wife and gave her life so the reign would survive. But now she was gone, so for a new wife he'd strive, singing, I will not let the dynasty die. I will not let the dynasty die. Anne of Cleves had a picture, such a pretty picture. Anne's whole being somehow did depict her as a beautiful princess. But when she set foot on the spot, the king said that he liked her not, and so divorced her without a second thought. So the ugly Anne had kept her head, become a sister to the king instead, because she went along. Her good life was prolonged. Oh, but Henry's quest was not resolved. A new wife it would soon involve. It seemed the kingdom still revolved around the king's love life. He was singing bye bye, you are a sword of my eyes. You have a horse face and I'm disgraced, all being painted a lie. So go right along and take your servants I've hired, 'cause I've still got a new wife to seek, and after all these years I feel weak. Well, the next to bat was Catherine Howard. What harm could be a little power in the hands of a young girl? But turns out the handsome king was getting old. No one would say, but truth be told, he couldn't satisfy his lovely queen. So when Cranmer caught her with some guy, and supreme laws she had defied, young Catherine was told her head was soon to roll. So she laid her neck out on the block, and once the king had heard the chop, he knew all of his hopes had dropped of having another kid. He was singing bye bye despite his poor young wife's cry. She'd been ensnared by an affair, and so she paid with her life. The rose had a thorn, and when they found it she died. And even as this whole thing transpired, the aging king was growing tired. He met a girl named Catherine Parr, and though the king's physique was marred, he asked her to marry him. Parr, of course, would not decline, and she would be the last in line, 'cause not long after the king would pass away. In the heavens the wise rejoiced, on the earth a tiny voice in Edward would succeed him, but not long would he lead them. Soon the queen that I admire most would come to court and take her post. So to her father let us toast for his astounding life. Bye bye, you freaking crazy guy. Your misfortune made a fortune out of merchandise. For no other king had such an interesting life. That's why to your endless strife I devote my academic life.